out to a ball game, particularly my mom. I'm a bit of a mama's boy. I love hanging out with my mom, and it was fun, man. To be in the ballpark again with my parents and watch UVA win is always a good thing.
Did Yona go?
Yona was doing that.
She was working.
Pint for
Paws and Pints.
Pints for Paws.
Pints for Paws.
Which was actually stellar. They've got she told me a number in the life of me, I can't remember it, but had a ton of folks going in there, sold out whatever tokens that they had.
That's
and
great.
Raised a ton of money for the Fulvana SPCA. So no, she was, I guess you're right. She was working, and I was taking mom and dad out for a ball game. But it was
you're a good son.
I miss spending time with mom, and they're at the age that they're at. Any opportunity I can do that, I take it. But I didn't see the Saturday game, which supposedly was a humdinger.
A humdinger.
A humdinger.
What's up, John Blair? Good to see you, my friend.
It was a humdinger of a finish, but this one, man, they came out in the first and second inning and just racked up 6, 7, 8 points by the end of runs by the end of the second inning, in North Carolina just catch up. But this second baseman, Justin Rubin, made a stop that just like everybody's mouth opened up, and then they got a standing ovation. I haven't seen a stop like that in a long time. So it was a lot of fun.
We'll have some fun. Johnny Ornalis, hello.
And you can get beer at the park now.
It's very nice.
That tells you how long ago I was at the ballpark.
You can get beer at Davenport. I've enjoyed a couple cold beers at Davenport myself.
Yeah.
Give the show a like and a share anywhere you are watching. We'll rock and roll. We love when our friends of the program, Johnny Ornalis, watch. We love when John Blair watches. Love JB. Real Talk with Keith Smith is also live today on Facebook, and we've done a fantastic website for him, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Check that out where all the shows are archived. Kevin Yancey, King of Waynesboro, good morning.
Yeah, man, that's a shout out to you guys, to Judah and Jerry, man. You guys put that together, and I took my own advice. I asked you to do it and stayed the hell out of your way. So, and I think it worked out great. I actually did stay out of your way on this.
It's fantastic. J-Dubs, we can rock when you're ready. Guys, good Monday morning. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. We're live on the I Love Seville Network with a Charlottesville, Albemarle County, Central Virginia, Commonwealth, country, and worldwide audience. And today's program is dynamite. Monday, the last one of April.
Wow.
The month of April has absolutely flown by. The next Monday we're in these seats. We start in May of 2022. Of course, we thank Yes Realty Partners and Keller Williams Alliance for being a part of the program. Interstate Service Company, ISC, a home's best friend. Generations of family behind ISC. And we encourage everyone watching the program to check out realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, the website realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, where all these shows are archived, and you see just a fantastic partnership or a fantastic aggregation of partners like Interstate Service Company, our friends at the Free Enterprise Forum. Our buddy Neil Williamson is watching today's show.
Hey, Neil.
Allied Property Management, Keith Smith. Good morning, my friend. Let's
Good morning.
highlight some of our partners.
And close your title.
Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned ISC. A little bit later, we're going to be talking about seller myths about should or should I not renovate my house. So we're going to give a bit of a shout out to ISC when we get to that point of it. But you're 100% right. Go to Keith Smith. Excuse me, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. I'll get this right, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. And under the partners thing, you can take a look at all our partners. As part of the reason why we created this website is to celebrate our partners that make this possible. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here 3 times, 4 times a week chatting and having fun with Jerry and Judah and Miss Liza under the bench there. So tell me about your weekend, man. I know you had family in.
It was fantastic. Stephanie Rhodes, hello.
Hey,
We love
Stephanie.
when you watch the program. Part of the ISC family. Neil, you know we have tremendous love and respect for you. It was just a fantastic weekend.
Good.
We enjoyed on Saturday, so I have both my in-laws at our house right now and my parents literally at the house now, perhaps watching the program as we speak. Fortunate to have just the best in-laws on the planet, fortunate to have the best parents on the planet. Everyone gets along. Last night we were sitting on the back deck on a cool spring evening here in Albemarle County and just talking and having a good time, catching up and just sharing pleasantries. Saturday, my wife, our son, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law, we enjoyed the Tom Tom Festival in the downtown mall.
Oh.
The Dora, the designated outdoor refreshment area, where we were able to walk from 4th Street all the way to the Code Building, not the entire mall, but just about all of it, from 4th Street to the Code Building, with cold beverages in our hands. And I checked in with our friends, the restaurateurs who own the restaurants, spoke with Ivan Rekash, who owns Zocalo, chatted with him on Saturday around lunchtime. He said on Friday he had sold over 200 margaritas alone.
It's funny. We went there on Friday night, right?
Uh-huh.
And I wanted to. We didn't even talk about this in our pre-production meeting, but that was a home run.
It was smash success.
We were fortunate because we park at the X building, so we just walk out of our office and wandered on over there. Saw one of the security people, got a couple of bands. They did want to see my ID, which I didn't quite understand. You know, I surely look over 21, but anyway. But I told the young lady that was the best compliment I had all day, and we walked around, and it was really cool because they had like Fitzroy had like a bartender in mid mall, and all the different
On their patios. The ABC law is they have to be on their patios.
That's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
'Cause-
Fitzroy's patio is in the center of the mall. That's why they were able to do that.
Got
In
it.
fact, I had this conversation with Ivan of Zocalo. ABC was
Crystal
really
clear.
making sure that
Yeah.
the bars were on the patios and not on the actual pedestrian mall. So interestingly, according to Virginia's liquor laws, a customer can go and buy at the bar, which is on the patio, and then walk it up and down the mall. The restaurant cannot walk, in this particular circumstance, the drink on the mall to customers. The customers have to walk it
So it
themselves.
worked out really good because now
Smash success.
Now it makes sense because the bar itself was inside the patio and the line was on the mall.
That's right.
Now that makes sense. I was trying to figure out how
right.
that was working, but yeah, we walked up because it was the first one that we bumped into as we came up past the building of that's half finished or not even quarter finished on that end of it, and grabbed 2 margaritas actually and wandered around. But it was a home run. Do you think they're going to kind of stretch it out a little bit, or they're going to keep it in that footprint?
Right now the ABC permit is with Paul Beyer and the Tom Tom Festival.
Sure.
I would think the idea is Friends of Seaville, which is a nonprofit. The ABC permits are allocated toward nonprofits.
Sure.
That Friends of Seaville, which is on a group of influential property owners downtown and business owners downtown, the nonprofit will hang, the ABC license will hang with that nonprofit, and we could potentially see more of this.
So
This was a pop, a proof of performance.
Got it.
For the city.
And I mean, this is a real estate show, but this is pretty cool. One of the things I was talking to Yona about as we were walking back and forth, knowing that this was a nonprofit, and Yona's on a couple of nonprofits, I'm on a couple of nonprofits, where it could be really cool for at least income for the nonprofits is you would charge for the bands. Right, and I, from my perspective, if I got it checked and I charged for the bands, I'd be willing to pay $5 for a band or something like that on that end of it. Is anybody talking about that as far as incremental income or?
In this particular circumstance, the bands are going to be free. and then the revenue is going to be associated with the restaurants, and then there could be some kind of rev share or donation post-event to the nonprofit. Danville is the first to organize this in year-round capacity, and how they're looking at the revenue is an increase in meals tax, transit occupancy tax, and retail tax, and also as just doing the right thing by locally owned businesses.
I can tell you a measure of the success, for what it's worth, was the parking. So we parked at our office earlier in the day, right? And if we didn't do that, we wouldn't have found the park. The X Park was packed. Everything was going up. So parking was good. So it was, a couple of things. Great to see Tom out again. The door, from my perspective, was a home run.
Home run, absolute home run.
And hopefully we're going to get some more of them, which is even more of a home run out that way. Speaking of home runs, inventory's up.
That's fantastic. We have more houses on the market. Good for everybody.
We've been talking about when that kind of switch is going to happen. I think we're in the middle of it at the moment. Last 7 days, which is usually how we start our Mondays, we had 127 new come on and 101 go into pending. Just to put it in perspective, a month ago this week, we had 97 come on and 98 go into pending. So the needle's going in the right direction. One of the things that are starting to change a little bit, and maybe we can kick off with this and see what the folks got to say on the feed, is the price changing is starting to change a little bit here. So we're starting to see a little bit more of price changes. So for instance, a month ago, we had 35 price changes in this same week a month ago. But of that 35, and I didn't break down the count on that, I did.
By price changes, he means price adjustments on list price.
Either up or down.
Yep, on list price.
So it's interesting, a month ago, the price changes were mostly up and mostly new construction. This particular last 7 days, it was the opposite. It was mostly down, a few upticks on new construction, and actually out in Fluvanna County, there was a project, Island Hill, where I'll have to look at my numbers here in a minute, but there was actually a reduction of list price on new construction, somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000. I literally ran out with some data, so I didn't really get a chance to digest it. We could do it live here on why that is the case on that end of it. I got some opinions, but we can chat about it.
I'm curious to your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think, hold on a second here, make sure I got my numbers right here, because Mr. Williamson will correct me, as he should. There was 5 at Island Hill that went down. So this is a subdivision, single-family detached in Fluvanna County. This was a project at one point that much similar to the one on that was rejected, was supposed to be 100 units, 150 units, turned out to be around 45, 50 units, whatever it was, by right. My suspicion is, pulling the numbers for Island Hill, they're down to the last 10 homes, and I think they're looking to move out of the market, is what I think is going on there. The other thing is, it could be a lot what happened with some of the other non-new construction homes, and there's this kind of the seller myth, right? I can ask anything I want for my house. That's really not the case. So I think they may have overshot the market in their list price, and they're probably adjusting for that a little bit. So my suspicion is a little bit of it. I mean, there's 10 inactive on that project, 27 in pending, and 15 is sold. So when I do the math, that's all the lots that they have over there. So my suspicion is they're looking to close that project out and move on. Plus, I think they kind of missed the mark when they first went into the market. I don't think it's because materials are lowering, and I also don't think because labor is cheaper.
Yeah, and I was reading something over the weekend that we still haven't felt the true impact of supply chain pinches. We will start to feel that impact over the next 6 months as China, which is a huge producer and manufacturer of so many goods across all our sectors of business, is really feeling a lockdown now associated with COVID again. So I don't know if folks are following the news globally, but the pandemic is hammering China right now. And as the lockdown of its populace, of its base of people and workers is a reality, the production of goods and the manufacturing of goods is really becoming a point of concern. So supply chain, we'll see how that impacts us on the West, or the Western aspect of this world, and certainly the United States. We say hello to Woody Fincham
Hey,
of
Woody.
Fincham and Associates.
Thank you for your sponsorship. my
Strong
friend.
partner of this program.
Absolutely. Look forward to getting him in here. Looking forward to talk about this stuff on a regular basis. He's a man that and his organizations that, I play at being appraiser. He does this by the second and can spit some great information out. But there was, it's interesting. Once in the last 7 days, out of the 47 price changes, 8 of them were these new constructions that all went up, right? And they're all kind of at Western Albemarle. But of the homes that were not new construction, there was only one that went up. So when we say price changes, it can go either way, right? So everything else of that 47 was reduced in price. Some of it was light, some of it was like $1,000, and some of it was more than that. And it directly, I think, as you start looking at some of the days on market when they get a little bit long in the tooth, and from today's perspective of days on market, you'll see the wider price drop on that end of it.
So here's what I got to ask you. So you got there's a clear correlation between new construction and existing construction when it comes to price point. As new construction is birthed, the cost of goods of new construction, labor shortages, the supply chain issues is driving up the cost of new construction. It's making it expensive.
It's just the way it is.
Just the way it is. Furthermore, the dirt in jurisdictions like Albemarle or Charlottesville is as expensive as it's ever been.
Yep.
So new construction comes to market. We know it's going to be expensive because of what I just outlined. We know when new construction is marketed and promoted and people purchase these homes, there is some influence and impact the new construction has on existing construction price points. With me? You don't buy that?
No. Maybe yes, maybe no, yes.
Okay,
right?
let's go down that road.
Yeah. So it would really impact price point, right? So we're looking at like the ones that went down in Fluvanna County. There were between, let me double check this here, between say 424 and 509. Right, these are the adjusted prices down. The one that 509 dropped about 15 grand in the last week. I think, and Woody's fingers are firing. Any impact he can put on this would.
Offer some perspective on this, Woody.
This would be great from a practitioner in the street end of it, because I was actually with the client today this weekend at this price point, this $800,000 to $1 million price point. That's where new construction, I think, is going to cross an impact with the existing, right?
What does that mean?
So I'm glad you asked that question.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What that means is that the new constructions, so we're looking on the opposite side of the mountain here, and you're in this 800 to 900. I'm looking at the other side of the mountain. I'm talking about Crozet area. You're in your 7s and your 8s and your 9s.
And those sell all day, every day.
Correct. So what I was trying to get at is if I'm trying to buy a $900,000 existing home and a $900,000 new construction home, depending on the wear and all this stuff, you might want to gravitate to the new construction because it's got all the new bells and whistles. It comes with the home warranty, 1-year home warranty, etc. That's where that's going to be competing at that point. There is no yet anyway. There's going to be some at Lake Monticello once Colonial Circle comes on, and this 250, 350 range, but there's really no new construction to compete against existing, unless somebody else knows about it that I'm not aware of it, to compete against that. So that's the point I'm trying
From
to
a
make.
price standpoint.
From a price standpoint.
Yeah, and okay, so that's the springboard of the discussion I want to get into. The new construction coming into this market in Albemarle County is going to probably be damn close to $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's 8 to 9 is really your entry point.
Yeah.
On that end of it, but it's really hard to find something with new construction production side, something like Stanley Martin, those kind of builders is that, that 8, 9, 1 million. Customs, which we're going to do a roundtable with Customs coming.
I was well over $1 million.
Well over $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
one of our clients, a custom home builders, he's like, I can't do anything under $1 million.
yeah.
Can't do anything under $1 million.
I get asked all the time to build at that price point, and I've moved on to different parts of my life and our business model, but I don't know how you can build today.
So let's go this. You got new construction coming in between production builders, 800 to $1 million. And that new construction in Central Virginia between 800 and $1 million is going to be on a smaller lot, and it's going to be a home likely in the 3,000 square foot or under range. Probably 2,000 to 3,000 square feet most likely.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to look at something that's going to be in the neighborhood of 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths.
Yep.
It's going to be likely hardy plank.
Sure. Your finishes are going to be very different in the $800, $900 million home versus the 250, obviously, 350 range. But you're starting to see some of the entry level builders use hardy plank just to focus in on that. It's gotten to the point that it's a little bit more accepted at most price points. It never used to be that way, though, right?
I mean, at one time, 5 years ago, if you said hardy plank and a home flirting with $1 million, people would be like, come on. They're expecting brick at that price point.
Well,
now, 8 to a million is hardy plank all day,
so
every day.
people's expectations are changing, right? But it's also changing at the more price competitive. We just don't have new construction on this side of the mountain yet that is at that price point. Again, like at Colonial Circle, you're going to see some price points in that range on that end of it. But more than likely, I haven't seen the specs out on it, but my suspicion is it'll be vinyl versus hardy plank.
So, Dan Pettit, welcome to the program.
Hey,
It was
Dan.
good to see you at the Boar's Head. I saw you from afar on Saturday morning. I hope you enjoyed the tournament. DP, we love when you watch the program. So I want you to help me understand this, okay? You're the pro. I learned from you. Benefit of sitting across from you for how many shows?
Oh, God, this is 306, I think.
306 shows I've sat across from this guy. He's been in the business since 1987.
1897? I mean...
1987. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you.
Learning from him.
Same here.
So
Cheers.
I know you can't talk specific listings, and I wouldn't want to put you in hot water. So I'd like to talk maybe in general terms, if I could.
Sure.
And the neighborhood I'm in, general terms, you can get new construction. Walk me through this thinking in the counsel you would offer your clients. The neighborhood I'm in, you can get brand new home construction, Keith Smith. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2-car garage, 1,825 square feet, proposed detached, paper house on the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Paper house is architectural plans showing what the house could be, as opposed to just marketing dirt. They put architectural plans on the MLS.
Yeah, so this
Tangibility.
It's correct. This is what it is. This is standpoint.
Yeah.
This is the starting point.
Because a lot of folks have a hard time visualizing it.
Correct. Yeah, but what?
Is that a good description?
Yeah, but typically what will happen is they'll have something that's existing that they can get into a model. I think in this case it's Stanley Martin.
Yeah, there is a model.
Yeah, so they can go
Yeah.
into the model, they can
Yeah.
touch and feel it and see what it is.
Model's beautiful.
Correct. See what the upgrades are. What's in that pending, I'm sure, is not top of the line of selections. But what will happen is I'll let you finish asking the question. You want me
Sure.
to jump
No,
in?
yeah, and I'm curious of your
Okay.
take here. The advice you offer people. So I'll give it to them again, and then I get out of your way. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2-car garage, 1,825 square feet, Keith.
Is that on a crawl space or a basement?
This is, I'll give you that in 1 second here.
Okay, got it. I didn't pull that
There's
out,
no
so-
basement.
Got it.
No basement. 0.2,
It's on a slab then. Okay.
yeah, it's a 0.2, the lot, 0.2.
Got it.
And that has got an asking price of $924,900, $924,900. On the flip side, there's existing construction.
Sure.
The asking price of the existing construction, you ready for this? Is,
Are we looking at similar homes?
I mean, I'm just putting in perspective the difference.
Yeah, so typically the existing homes, I think, will have a little bit more square footage in it.
1,000,003
Yeah,
is one example.
Sure.
So we're looking at a price point difference of 300K probably,
got it.
and it's 6 bedrooms, 4.5 baths,
Yeah.
2-car garage, 6,100 square
Yes,
foot,
so it's much bigger home. It's a lot
brick
more-
house.
Yeah, sure.
And then I'll get out of your way on 0.77. You're talking basically 4 times the lot size. So show us yours on that. How do you navigate that?
Yeah, so how you navigate that, Mr. Miller, is you kind of, from my perspective, I've kind of need to take a dive into, as I'm representing you, what you and Mrs. Miller are trying to achieve, right? Where you're at on your fiscal, where money, are we looking for the month? Are we on the top end of this? Am I going to have a growing family? That 1,800 square feet is really a nice size and set up for Keith and Yona Smith, right? That's all I really need. Matter of fact, I need less than that. I'm not looking at what you're looking at. My suspicion is it's got the master bedroom on the first floor, which so now
Little primary suite action.
primary suite. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. I apologize. Thank
You taught me that.
I know. Well, it's amazing. I'm teaching you, and then you're reteaching me.
Primary suite.
Primary suite. This is Fair Housing Month. My God,
It's
Smith.
not the preferred nomenclature anymore, Master.
Yeah. Primary suite. Note to Smith. Primary suite. Yeah. So the primary suite is on the first floor on that. Thank you, Mr. Miller. So the buyer profile is different, right? So that's 6,000 square feet, 5 bedrooms, so forth and so on, is the buyers are going to be different, I think, on that end of it. So you're not going to be able to fit, 2, 3 kids, 2 parents in an 1,800 square foot house. So I think the point you're trying to get to is the numbers.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean,
right. But it's not all about numbers. It's all about what you're trying to achieve, if that makes any sense.
Okay, so I'll give you another one, and then get out of your way.
If it's something closer to the 1,800 square feet, which existing Glenmore, you don't see a lot at that 1,800 square
That's going to be
feet.
difficult.
Well, it's because when it was built, right?
Yeah.
So when that subdivision was built, the homes were much larger. I actually built the first house in there 100 years ago. And, they were in the 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 square feet. You're not seeing that so much. Lots were bigger on that end. It's also meaning more you got to take care of.
Oh, yeah.
So the trusted advisor in me is I need to understand what Mr. and Mrs. Miller are trying to accomplish.
Well, another example would be in the same neighborhood, $775,000 asking, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, all brick Georgian, 3,200 square feet.
Yeah.
So I guess where I'm going with is, it seems like the new construction, and this could scale this could be the case for Old Trail, if I want to scale this to other neighborhoods as well.
You can take it in.
Take it anywhere.
Yeah.
The new construction is checking in at such a high price point because of these labor shortages and these cost of goods shortages. And that high price point is pulling existing construction up with it from a pricing standpoint.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
You don't think so?
Well, it really depends on the specific location, the specific property. If you're looking at an 1,800 square foot house, was it $900,000, $924? If I wrote the number down.
$924.
Yeah, wrote the number down right.
Brand new.
Yeah, that's a lot of dollars per square foot, and I think that's what you're trying to drive at. That's a lot of dollars per square foot versus 6,000 square feet at 1.2, 1.3, whatever it is. I'm not smart enough to do that math in my head that quickly, but I know it's less per square foot than the new construction. It comes down to what Mr. and Mrs. Miller are looking to achieve, right? And what they can afford. And you know this I had a at the ball game yesterday, literally the person sitting down below me looks up and goes, "I've seen you somewhere. Where have I seen you?" And blah blah blah.
And at that point, you're like, "Oh God, that's terrifying." But then you figure out where it was. I mean, your face is all over social media 4 times a week.
Yeah. So he put 2 and 2 together, and I've got to be very careful how to say this. So he turns around and he goes, "I know you're trying to enjoy your family, but please tell me what's going on in the market." And all of a sudden, I'm trying to talk to my mother and my father and watch this awesome ball game. And then I realized I got to focus and talk to this guy. And we talked for about a half an inning on that end.
Which is a long time in baseball time.
Particularly on the second inning.
Yeah.
That first and second inning was a long, I mean, it was brutal for North Carolina. I would have not wanted to have been the guys out in the field when UVA was just putting them all over, could place the ball any place they wanted in the field. But it was really cool. I got an opportunity to talk to him and this particular person, and he was trying to understand the market and, is it a good time to buy, a good time to sell? And we had that whole pretty cool conversation on the end of it. New construction didn't come up, but the reality of it is the market, and I've said this 100 times, it's 5 things, like location, price, features, conditions, and timing. So to speak about that particular place that we're talking about, where for 1,800 for 974, that might be exactly where I need to be. Yoner and Smith need to be. Yoner and Keith Smith need to be.
Kevin Yancey goes, "That's 3 times the house we're talking about." So I mean,
but I don't want 3 times the house. That's the point.
That I understand that.
I don't want 3 times the house, and I'm okay. Let me rephrase this. I am not okay.
Yeah.
Don't get me into sell my house Smith thing, right? But I may be okay with 924 for new construction, 1,800 square feet, has everything on the first floor.
You don't have to worry about anything.
I don't have to worry about anything. It's brand new. I'm not into cutting 12 acres of land anymore. Yada, yada, yada. That's where I'm at in my life, and I'm okay with doing that. Oh, by the way, I've sold my house and I've got an extra $300,000 or $400,000 I can bring to the table, so that 924 is something less.
Ricardo Cruz Duran, welcome to the program. We love you, Ricardo. We love you. Doing a tremendous job as a Hispanic segment mortgage supervisor at UVA Community Credit Union. Ricardo has come on Today Mañana and was absolutely dynamite. Ricardo Cruz Duran, welcome to the show.
We love UVA Credit Union. It's where you have all our business accounts.
They're fantastic. When you're comparing real estate, a lot of real estate, at least for people that are straight up numbers guys, and I'm one of them. It's about comparables and comps. I'm comparing.
But Jerry, you're an oddity.
You're
not. The volumes of buyers that you see out there, and we have multiple real estate agents that come on the show for years. Most buyers are looking to buy something that meets their needs and is at a certain monthly price point.
I understand that.
The segment of the population that buys that is, I'm not buying this house because my ROI doesn't work. You know what? You're going to buy that house if Mrs. Miller says you're buying that house. In my case, I'm trying to sell the house. Mrs. Smith is trying to sell. I just got myself into trouble. Mrs. Smith is trying to sell.
Chad Wood wants to know if your house is on the market.
No, Chad, it is not.
You knew it was going to go down that way.
I knew it was going down that way.
But
look, let's talk about that, okay? Look, the reality of it is, here's a house for $924. This is just Keith and Jerry having a conversation over a cup of coffee, right? And Sasha Tripp was busting my chops on Friday because I showed our home, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's just an outstanding home on that. She was like, well, buy this and move in or whatever. Look, by the time I'm nearly debt-free on my existing home, almost debt-free on my existing home, to buy what I want, I'm going to spend $1 million. Now, I'm doing the counter to that. Guess what I'm doing, Jerry? I'm doing numbers.
Yeah.
And that's my argument to Mrs. Smith about moving, that we'll hold it. We have a primary suite, on the first floor, and I may or may not have room for my boat, and my stuff, which may be the reason. But it's most people do not make their purchase. We'll ask Scott Morris
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday, and I think you'll find out. And I wish there was a stat there that NAR could put together to figure out is that. But from my 35 years of doing this, very rarely it's purely a numbers thing. Numbers are important. We're looking at them right now. We're talking about them all the time. But it's generally an emotional purchase. It's I need to do this. And that's what's in the marketplace right now, right? The 5 and 6%, which I think we're going to be at 6 here pretty quick.
Oh, yeah.
It's carving off, unfortunately, the people. This is where cash does matter.
Oh, yeah.
In this market right now, it's carving off, unfortunately, the first-time buyer who doesn't have cash.
This is Kevin puts it well. Kevin Yancey watching the program. Vanessa Parkhill, we'll get to your comments here in a matter of moments as well. Kevin says the point is it's bang for your buck. A buyer looking for new versus existing is going to get much more bang for their buck with potentially existing from a square foot standpoint, lot size standpoint,
operational standpoint, right?
potential finish standpoint, although some of those finishes are going to have a little, they're going to be a little longer in the tooth than the new construction.
Well,
finishes.
it's dated, is what we refer to the term as dated, right?
A little dated,
right?
depending on the year and whether a remodel happened with interstate
So I
service
looked
company.
at several dozen homes this weekend for a bunch of clients.
He was humming this weekend. He was working.
I was on the road all Friday afternoon, Saturday, and Sunday, other than the ball game. Excuse me, and actually went out after the ball game on that end of it. And back to the 5 things, right? Some of these homes that we were looking at that were at the equal price points, no new construction, by the way, we were looking at, because even at some buyers were at the 800 or 900.
You're not going to find it.
They're just not going to find what they need.
Is that not crazy, viewers and listeners? He's got buyers at the $800,000 and $900,000 clip, and he cannot find new construction for them.
Yeah. Well, because
think about that, folks.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about process, right? So what happens is you need to take a look at that 924 and find out what's in it and so forth and so on. But if you go pick a lot and a model that's going to sit on that, then the next step is you go through their selection process, and then that's when actually a trusted advisor, a real estate agent working for you is very helpful, because what we do is we go through the selection process with our buyers in new construction when we do it, because we just want to make sure that we don't start adding a lot of extras to it, and a 924 goes to 1.2, right, or whatever the number may be, right? Because we'll have a conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Miller and say, okay, yes, money matters, numbers matter. So what's your comfort level on total price versus your monthly payment and that, so forth and so on? Where do you want to be? Where do you want your cash position to be, assuming that you're at that part of the world in your life on that end of it? And then one of our roles is to make sure that, okay, if you sign this change order for $50,000, right, you understand we're over a certain price point. Are you good with that? Right, on that end of it. But anyway, so yeah, we were looking at houses, and I just found out we lost an offer I put in on the way in today. It was in the mid 4s, upper 4 range. Just to talk about
Mid 4, upper 4 range in Albemarle County.
actually the city of Charlottesville.
Mid 4, upper 4 range in the city of Charlottesville. You're probably looking at something 2,400 square feet or smaller. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or 4-bedroom, 2-bath.
So
You're looking at something that's probably 15 years old or higher.
Oh, way more, not mid 70s, late 70s.
on a lot size that's under .3.
Yep, you called it.
Yeah.
The difference was with the offer that we made on to the both homes were the same. One was updated, not renovated, but updated. In other words, the roof needed to be replaced. They replaced the roof. A couple of different, new flooring. They didn't go ahead and put an extension on the house or anything like that. And the one that we put an offer in, which is super important because we talk about this with Emily Funk all the time, was staged nice, right? The other one was, it needed work. The HVAC system was long in the tooth, needed a new roof. ISC can help you with that. It needed some painting. ISC can help you with that, on that stuff. And we literally walked in the door, turned around, walked out. The other home, we made an offer in, had 8 other offers on it. We came in second place. And it is what it is on that end of it. We'll continue to look, but it's important, to price it right. It's important to have the house look right. A lot of sellers right now think that they can price the home whatever they want. We're not in that market anymore. This market is moving a little bit, that you could just throw in by the number going down 47 price changes is telling me that, some people are coming in, maybe overstretching the existing market a little bit on price. You're starting to get a little long in the tooth on days on market and start dropping it. Plus, it always needs to look right. It needs to smell right, look right. When you walk in that door, according to the National Association of Realtors, 5 seconds, all your senses kick in.
So is what you're saying right now, the pendulum has swung
No.
from sellers to buyer?
No, it's starting to creep that way.
Okay.
We're
Still seller's market clear cut.
Yeah. So this same home that had 8 offers on it 30 days ago would have had 15, 16, 20 offers on it, right? On that end of it. So the market is starting to balance a little bit. And that's because inventory is creeping up a little bit, but the buyers are
Dwindling. They're falling down.
They're
falling apart.
Well, they're not falling apart. The pool is just not 20 feet deep.
It's not as deep.
15
It's more shallow.
Yeah, so the buyer, at least from my experience, the buyer that's in the market right now at this price point anyway, the $400,000 price point when it was 3%, some first-time home buyers with a little bit of cash, maybe 3%, could have handled it, right? The monthly nut. That's not the case any longer. So what's happening now is the buyers that have been pushed out because of that buyer profile that have maybe I can bring 20% in, right? And I can either lower my mortgage rate a little bit, right, by buying some points down, or more importantly, bring a little bit more cash to the table. So instead of borrowing $400, the full amount, at $425, $450, whatever the number is, maybe I bring 25 or 50,000 or 75,000, whatever I've got to it, and I'm borrowing less money. My monthly payment is back to where it was at 3 or sub 3. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. Did you show them townhomes? Dan wants to know that question.
No. So these are that the townhome buyer is clearly, the first-time home buyer, entry-level buyer. That's where the price point's more attractive. Each one of these buyers, frankly,
These are move-up buyers.
These were my age, my age or up.
And they wanted to be in the city.
Yeah, sure. They wanted to be in the city. Well, no, I got different buyers. I have ones that want acreage and ones that want room for horses and, different buyer needs across the board. But I will tell you, since COVID, this has probably been the busiest weekend that I personally have had, having multiple buyers on the same day, right? 3 days in a row. I haven't had that in a long time.
That's great to hear. Mm-hmm. Are you hearing anything from buyers and sellers on stock market volatility?
That's the point I'm trying to make.
Nothing.
And this is a price range. We have some first time, 250, 350, which are just nothing.
Because these markets are not great.
Yeah. So this is my world. This is the owner's world. This is our agent's world, right? But the people I talk to in the industry, the stock market is not. I think the only conversation I only had one of all the buyers that I had out there this weekend was, I'm getting some cash out of the stock market. I'm going to bring it to buy, to reduce my mortgage payment down on this one house. And that was we're in the 8 to 1.2 price range for that particular buyer. So that particular buyer may have the ability to do that. The one that's 300 to 400,
Yeah, different position.
well, they're just in different parts of their lives,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
On that kind of thing. So, yeah. So I don't see I see a closer eye on Yellen though. That's a conversation that happens pretty much across the board on what the
Interest rates.
the short-term interest rates are
Yeah.
going to do and how they're going to impact the long-term interest rates. But what I'm seeing in my world, for what it's worth, is the buyers that are in there have the ability to bring more cash to the table, which would impact either rates or impact the amount of money that they're borrowing.
Walk me through the scenario of fall in Central Virginia at rates 6% or slightly higher.
That is so, our chemistry is working. I looked at my 21-year spreadsheet this morning. I keep a track of the car footprint on volume of sales and month over month over month over month. This feels much like a normal spring market,
Okay.
right? I think you're going to see a little bit of a softening of the pace, the tempo, right? The tempo is picked up. Everybody I talk to in the space, the tempo is picking up. People are in the market again. Tempo is picking up both on the sale and the list side of things. I think you'll see July, August, more of a traditional balancing of the tempo, and then I think you're going to see the tempo pick up back at that, even at 6 or 7% at that end of it. All what that's going to do, it's going to reduce the pool of buyers that much more, but the pool is so deep at the moment. The pool is so deep that it's just the people that are going to be in the pool are going to have the ability to bring cash to the transaction. I'm not talking about buying cash only, but they'll bring enough cash to the transaction to either buy points down and or reduce their monthly their loan amount, therefore their monthly amount. That's kind of what I'm seeing going on right now.
You're seeing Tuesday, you're seeing potential 6 this fall, right?
We're over 5 and this morning I think I saw it was like 5.11, 5.12, somewhere around there. I did see and I want to talk to Scott about this on Monday. I am starting to see arms pop up again.
It's terrifying.
More than terrifying. They were 5, it was a 5.1, I think it was a 5.1 or a 7.2. I think it was a 5.1 arm, which adjustable rate mortgage, which is, you're gambling, right?
Oh.
You're gambling that in 5 years the interest rate is either going to reduce or stay stable on that end of it. So those who may or may not know, in 5 years, if the interest rate jumps up to whatever, the 1 is a plus point, right? So that's potential. That's what got us in trouble the last time.
We launched the Real Talk with Keith Smith Facebook page. Follow it. I was just the first one to like the page.
Oh, thank you.
Literally
Thank
did
you.
it during the
Thank you.
show.
Thank
I
you.
adjusted also during the show, Judah, the copy to include the days for Real Talk, so we can cross that off the checklist. I just took care of that.
There you go. Look at you multitasking.
Anyone that's watching Real Talk with Keith Smith on Facebook, follow the page, like the page. Kevin Yancey, Vanessa Parkhill. If you could do that for us, that would mean the world to us. Keith is going to start today with a little encouragement from his good friend Jerry, suggesting the page to his following of people.
I'll make a note of that.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good note to make, my friend.
I'm doing much better with the listening.
I've noticed. I've been
doing
impressed.
I'm doing much better.
And we've been productive and efficient. And you had a super busy weekend with buyers and.
I made a commitment to listen to you.
Thank you. I like
It
that.
only took me how many years?
3
years?
It's happening. That's all that I care about.
So it's
Daniel McDougall's got something for you.
Sure.
Okay, DMAC. He's in the business.
Yep.
Okay. Says 90% of his loan origination, 90% of the business he does is virtual. He services all the
we
Commonwealth.
talked about that.
Pretty impressive.
So we want to talk about he's in the mortgage.
He's in the mortgage business.
Mortgage side of the house.
This is what he says. Let's keep things in perspective, please. My number 1 year in business was 2004. and rates averaged 5.84%.
That's right. And how many units how many loans did he do in 2004?
How many loans did you do, DMAC, in that year, 2004?
And the point I'm making, if you go take a look at 2011 was the last time that we were plus 5% on the 30-year mortgage rate. And look, I actually, and this is again a great plug for realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. All 300 shows are archived there. And it makes it real simple for a guy like me to go back and look at the shows. And I kind of did that a little bit. And we talked at great lengths almost, 2+ years ago about what my concern was, and we're living it right now. What my concern was...
all 300 shows are archived on here.
I know
I'm looking at episode 1 right now.
I know, right.
It's so crazy how...
If you go and watch...
I'm literally looking at episode 1.
Yeah. I did that the other day, and the fact that I decided to continue on after that, it was horrible. I'm watching
Wasn't horrible.
Oh, it was horrible compared to what I'm doing now. It was horrible. It was horrible. But I'm watching. Yon and I are binging this Julia on HBO Max, and it's about Julia Childs. So we're big fans.
You put that on Facebook?
Yeah, we're huge fans of Julia Childs. Julia Childs. Yon and I. Oh my God, 3 or 4 years ago.
This is not horrible.
It was compared to my comfort level. But it's interesting. So it's about her beginning of the TV show on PBS, and the first one is about her pilot. And I was watching that pilot, and then I went back and watched that, and I went, oh, I get it, because I felt exactly like she felt on that pilot after my first go, going, oh my God. And a shout out to you.
You just got a second follower, Lynn Boatwright.
Yeah.
Lynn Boatwright. Thank you, Lynn Boatwright.
Lynn, that's it. We're gonna have to offer. I know. Is that legal? Can I offer like cups of coffee for people?
You can do contests.
I can do contests. Cool.
Yeah.
Look, we got to save that as our post-production conversation.
So how you would do gift cards, like the page, participate in the show. You're in the running for this gift card or contest that you offer. That's actually a really good idea. And we can execute a like and share contest on your behalf on Real Talk with Keith Smith to drive engagement. Like the page, comment in the, or share the post in the page, comment on the post in the page. You win a gift card. Lynn Boatwright, thank you for liking Real Talk with Keith Smith. Other people do it. Let's get that brand growing. Daniel McDougall, 2004, how many deals did you do? Way too many. Cha-ching.
Yeah, correct.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
That's his response.
But that was that was also 2004, right? 2004, 2005, 2006 was, the balloon. That was the real balloon. And I'm just curious how many of them
were arms.
Well, he's a pro, so
he is a pro.
I don't even need to ask the question, because I'm confident whatever loans he did were super solid loans on that end of it, and was done right, not done a little. The problem was the appraisals at that time the system was a little goofy. But look, so
chose your words very carefully.
Yeah, I did.
Yes,
I walked it back.
Yes, you did. Like a Duncan Yo-Yo over here.
Whoa!
You handled that very well.
Duncan Yo-Yo.
I love Duncan Yo-Yos.
Dude, really?
Walk the dog, the trick.
Yeah. Were you a yo-yo guy?
Yeah, I think most kids were. I'm curious. Are kids now?
I don't think I've seen a yo-yo. I don't see anybody walking around with a yo-yo.
I guess they're so monopolized by video games.
I thought that was like a 60s, 70s thing. I used to literally.
I love Duncan Yo-Yos.
I used to literally carry a yo-yo in my hand. I was just walking around the streets and did that.
Yeah, I love those Duncan Yo-Yos. Duncan, the top brand in the business. Dave Varell, friend of the program, watching in the Outer Banks. Hello, welcome to the program.
Get to the beach, man. What are you doing here? Go to the beach.
He's listening to us on his boat.
Oh, good for him.
In the Outer Banks.
Is he fishing?
He, formerly of Ivy, Virginia fame, owned the Dippin' Dots franchise locally, sold and moved to the Outer Banks.
Good. I hope he's doing some fishing.
Living the dream now.
I hope he's doing some fishing. So, in front of us, I got 4 different buyer myths and seller myths, 2 buyer myths and 2 seller myths. We've been kind of covering a little bit of them right now, but one of the current buyer myths, or some of the conversations you have here, should I wait to buy until home prices and mortgage rates fall, right? That's a question that we get all the time. And I think we've been sitting across from each other long enough to know you know exactly what that answer is. Mortgage rates are not going to fall anytime soon. I think Scott's of a different opinion on that. I think you're going to see them balancing out at the more normal.
Scott thinks they'll return to lower levels
And then boots
this
back.
time next year.
Yeah, but it'll be short-lived. I don't think it's going to be long-lived. Look, again, we went on this whole tangent about the first show, but I actually went back and watched the first show, which was over 2 years ago, where I expressed the concern that everybody's now thinking 3% or sub-3 mortgages was the norm, and it's not. We're just looking at a 5% in 2004. 2011 was 5%. I bought mine at 18% in 1887 or 1987 when I bought my first home. It actually was 1988 when I bought my first home. So if you look at the trends on that, the norm is somewhere between 4 and 6, right? Plus or minus a few points on that end of it. What's going to change, I think, and it'd be really interested to some of the mortgage folks that may be listening, or realtors that are listening on that end of it, is, we've had this conversation about the 20% down payment was a thing of the past. You're going to see that come back now.
Explain why. And Vanessa says, Queen of Earlysville, there's probably a yo-yo app on your iPhone now. And that's what kids are doing. Is trying to
How does that work?
Yo-yo on their iPhone, and she's so right.
Yeah, how does that
so
work?
So true.
What is it, that Wii thing? What was that? Wasn't it like a Wii, like the video game?
Oh yeah.
Was it called?
It's the Nintendo Wii, right?
Wii
Judah?
or something?
That's what he's talking about. Look at Keith Smith getting Judah got a chuckle out of that.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Oh, this I want to talk about.
Nintendo Wii. Oh yeah, Twitter.
But let's
please,
finish this train of
please.
thought. We'll put before my ADD kicks in on that end of it. Look,
why 20%? Why is 20% going to be a thing of the short-term future? DMAC, I'm curious if you agree with what Keith Smith's about to say.
well, I'm just seeing it now with the buyers that we're having and we're moving forward. It's I think it's for a couple of reasons. One, we're still in multiple offer scenario in all price points going across the thing. It's just not the volume that it was some months ago, but you're still looking at 2 or 3 or 4 multiple offers. So the amount of down payment you put is important because it makes the process that much easier to go through. It makes the buyer look stronger, right, on that end of it. But from a buyer's perspective, that helps get your monthly payment down. Now, some of the mortgage brokers on that can look at it. So, if I'm doing I'm buying a $450,000 home, and I'm borrowing, let's say, 100% of it at 3%, but now I'm bringing $75,000 to the table, and I'm borrowing that at 5%. I've done that math. I just don't have it with me. That's how you get your monthly payment down. You just bring more cash to the table if you're capable of doing that. And the buyer that's not capable of doing that, I think, is going to be kind of put to the side a little bit until maybe when Scott's right and this drops back down again, or some other, God forbid, we start really going in earnest in these crazy loan products that have come out to get that buyer back into the market or being able to purchase. But this is a great conversation for Wednesday, by the way.
Absolutely. And the 20% also helps you avoid PMI, private mortgage insurance.
So that goes.
It's going to lower your monthly payment.
That's
Yeah.
everything. Again, there's very few buyers that monthly payment doesn't matter to.
Anything you can do to lower your monthly payment is what he's highlighting.
Well, anything that you can keep a monthly payment at a point that you want it to be at, right? Or you need it to be at is really more importantly. There's want and there's need, right? And sometimes in the lifespan of a buyer, right? I want it to be at $1, right? But it really can be at $1.50. So we start at $1, and then we start either looking at more expensive homes because we can't find them at a certain price point, and that conversation, that number floats between what I want it to be and what I need it to be. Does that make any sense?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Neil Williamson just shared a GIF
I even
of
know what that is.
a kid utilizing a yo-yo. Today's version, Neil.
Was it
once again got me
was it on an
chuckling.
iPhone?
No, a kid trying to use a yo-yo right now in 2022, having no experience with toys where they're having to play with their hands and hitting themselves in the face on the pullback of the yo-yo.
Shit, sorry.
That's okay.
I had the classic
It's a
19.
clear cut.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
No FCC rules, but
Different
we try-
regulations on the I Love SEMO network.
But we don't try to do it because
We do have my parents and in-laws watching.
Oh, I apologize. I apologize. Oh boy, I am from Long Island, so
Yeah.
they should understand.
It's okay. It's totally okay.
Oh God, I'm from Brooklyn actually, but I remember as a kid in the late '60s. I don't know, Judith. Do you remember the banana seat bikes? Right? Do you remember that? So they used to have. They call them the banana seat with the handlebars up there that you can make like a chopper out of them and all that stuff. You remember that? And you used to do that, throwing a yo-yo down, drive around the neighborhood with a yo-yo, bouncing a yo-yo, riding a bike.
Wow.
I used
But you had the.
I used to have talent.
The people were watching you as you came by on a banana seat bicycle with the yo-yo in one hand and steering the bicycle in
And
the
you
other.
used to put the baseball, the playing
And the
card,
spoke.
and the spokes. So you would never do the baseball cards because they were worth something.
Yeah, you do what? Ace of Spades.
You would grab your mom and dad's deck of cards and sneak out of the house and start putting them on there.
Kevin used the Schwinn. He said.
Yeah, that's it. The Schwinn banana seat, and you used to have like the not the pom poms. You used to have like what is it at the side of the handles? You could probably find them.
There's little frilly, yeah, they're like
plastic little.
They weren't even plastic, right? They were.
they're like 20 floofy things from
You
a
could
pom pom.
probably find a.
20
Don't find a
floofy
picture.
things. Don't get us in
Well, first I'm getting the
copy infringement over there with the photo.
So I retract my request
It gets the
because
show taken down.
we do not want to do that.
Kevin Yancey, streamers. Dave Varell on
Thank you,
Dave
streamers.
Varell on his boat. We love you, DV says streamers.
Streamers.
God, I love you, David Varell.
David, are you catching anything?
Yeah, Dave, you catch anything on that boat, DV?
And should I bring my 22-foot center console down there and fish with you?
He will say yes. He says he's a very hospitable
Yeah.
and welcoming man. He says streamers. Yancey says tassels.
I think they're kind
they-
of the same thing.
Tassels have
Different condentation. Connotation?
connotation.
Connotation.
What's the connotation of tassels?
I don't know. It just means different things.
Do you want to highlight the connotation of tassels?
I've got tassels on my loafers,
Yeah.
on my Bostonians. I got
Okay,
tassels
there's
on
some
that, so
tassels.
that's good. So I think
Well, where was your mind initially going for
I
tassels?
totally don't remember. That was 30 seconds ago. I cannot be held responsible to remember what I said 30 seconds ago.
So-
Yona tried to ask me to remember that something she told me 5 days ago. That was a struggle.
Vanessa, streamers on the handlebars. The viewers and listeners are smart
Oh my
people.
God. Smarter than the host here, that's
Smart,
for sure.
smart people. You cannot get one by the viewers and listeners. This comment's come in. So if we get to 6% plus on interest rates in Central Virginia, what does Keith think that the buyer pool will look like? You've highlighted that already.
Yeah, like we've been talking about this for a while. Like the buyer pool is the deep end of I think it's a 10-meter Olympic platform diving, right? You know, it's 20 feet deep or however deep it is. So we're maybe at 18 or 19 feet or something along those lines. As interest rates go up, that pool will just get a little bit lower. The inventory is the kiddie pool. But we're not the kiddie pool anymore. We're probably in that 3-foot section at the other end of the pool, right? And so as inventory comes and buyers go in and interest rates, we're all going to kind of end up in that well, it depends on how tall you are, but that part where sorry, man, where the water's at your shoulders and everybody's balanced. Sorry.
Where's that for you?
Well, I used to be 6'2" until I broke my back, so now I'm 6 foot.
You're shrinking a little.
And being the age I am, that kind of going along with the process too.
Little gravity, little wear
gravity.
and tear.
Man, I'll tell you what, we were talking about that off air. 20 years ago, I was running, sub 8 marathon pace, sub 7, 10K race. Now, if I could just get out there and do something, it's a huge win. So body's changing.
This comment comes in, interest rate won't change buyers, it'll just change their price point and their entry point.
Well, it's going to change and I have to look up this term one day. It'll change the buyer profile, right? Who is buying? Who is buying?
It's just going to be a wealthier buyer. I hate to say it.
Well, it's going to be the buyer. Well, not necessarily, right? Right. It's going to be the buyer who has maybe saved up more cash so they can influence the process.
It's a wealthier buyer.
Yeah, I get that. But millennials also, starting millennials, right? And you highlighted this numerous times on the show with the data science and folks coming in and all this stuff.
They have income. There's a difference between
I understand. Yeah.
income and wealth.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
I'm more focusing on cash.
Yeah.
Right. So, hey, data science coming in. Somebody's coming in here. They're doing sign-on bonuses, right? Maybe it's 50,000. I don't know, whatever the number is, that they can carve that off to go ahead and use as cash to go ahead and buy on that end of it. You know, cash doesn't necessarily, and we'll save this for the Erpies because they're much smarter about this than I'll ever be. You know, wealth is much more than cash, right? It's net worth, and in my case, it's health. So that's how I'm gauging my wealth, is
And
how healthy I stay.
you are a wealthy man. That health is good.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Yeah, it's, you know, things sneak up on you when you get to be of a certain age on that end of it. I saw that with when we took my parents out last night.
You took your pop and your mom to the baseball game.
I did, and had a great time. Enjoyed the heck out of it, just being with them. You know, had hot dogs and beer and
Hot dog with mustard?
Yeah, mhm. Well, that's not what I like, but that's what I had.
What? How do you like your hot dog?
Oh, I like mine with chili on it. They didn't have it. They didn't have a chili.
Chili dog is
They didn't have a
dynamite.
chili. They didn't have a chili dog there.
Nothing better than a hot dog where you bite into it and it's got that crunch.
Well,
I like the crunch where that outer layer is crunchy.
yeah. Well, you know, there's a Joe Gentile was here from Pearl Certification, one of our awesome sponsors, was here. There's basically 3 things that New Yorkers talk. Well, probably 4 things that New Yorkers talk a lot about: pizza, right? Bread,
Hoagies.
right? Hot dogs is one, and bagels on the end of it. But you know, I only do kosher. We only do the kosher beef hot dogs. That's how I grew up. That's what we did. You know, we didn't do the non-kosher. And the difference is one has pork and one doesn't.
We've had a couple of people on the feed highlight Habitat for Humanity and the Southwood Project.
Yeah, they just recently got a little bit of money from Albemarle County, which is great, a substantial amount. I have not had an opportunity to dig too much into that.
You should. So there's some, suggestion. There's some concern in the community about displacement of residents associated with price point.
Yeah, I have.
And I know this is close to you because you got ties to was it PHA?
Yeah, so I chair the Piedmont Community Land Trust and Piedmont Housing Alliance. We're in the middle of a merger, wrapping up our new joining together as a partnership on it. But I don't know if this is a PHA thing out there or if it's a Habitat. I need to look into it. Habitat for Humanity is the developer out there, so some parts of it they're doing, some parts of it are for market rate. I think Southern Development is doing some things. So I'll bring that back. Actually, I'll do some research today for tomorrow's show because it's just going to be you and I tomorrow. So I'll dig into that a little bit. I take the same approach as I do with so everybody knows, with political and elected officials. We're not going to point fingers or throw anybody under the bus, but I'll look into some of the stats and the information on that.
Yeah, the price point topic is coming up. And Neil Williamson is right. Allison Rabel has a story about this in Daily Progress. The price point topic is coming up, and it's coming up with momentum.
As I'm not up to speed on it, so what's the
things are checking in more expensive than perhaps initially anticipated or promoted.
Yeah.
or expectations in the beginning were set
Yeah.
at this price point.
So
And now it's coming in at a different price point, and residents are being gentrified out of
So-
what is how would you characterize before the development happened? A mobile home community,
That's exactly what it was.
right? A mobile home community. In a lot of ways, Southwood was almost like a tiny town.
So in defense of Habitat, and I have to read the articles, I got to get into it. To be honest with you, I've really have not dug my heels into it, but I'll promise you I'll do that this evening for tomorrow. In Habitat's defense, and I was talking about this earlier in the building, I'm a recovering developer and builder. I would in a million years not get in that business right now. It's impossible to determine
Price point.
price point.
Yeah.
Not only is it impossible to do that, it's impossible to have done that a couple of years ago. So here's part of the problem. Part of the problem was, and I'll have to dig it up, and Neil will know this.
Neil's watching. He just shared something on this.
Yeah, Neil will know this.
Love you, Neil.
How long did it take Southwood to get approved?
That's a good question for Sir Neil Williamson.
So my suspicion is it was years.
Phase 2 right now is
Well, the point I'm trying to make,
in purgatory a little bit.
correct, because I believe it has to go back through some zoning action of some sort. I can't remember exactly what it is. The point I'm trying to make, and to Neil's liking on this, my comment of red tape into green tape, right? So I can speak from this from a very personal perspective, right? I lost all the money that I had, which was $17 million, and had to go through some traumatic experiences, my family and I, for years through this process, is because of a couple of subdivisions that I started in 2003 that I couldn't put a house in until 2007 and 2008. So my point is if in 2003 I would have had that rezoning site plan, and let's say in 2004 try to put homes in the ground, I would have not lost everything I had, because I had to price everything out based on 2003 and 2004 numbers, which everybody knows was a different world. By the time I got to actually building, which is 7 and 8, on that end of it, well, the market has changed dramatically. So I'm not trying to defend anybody at this point, because I don't have the data or the numbers or the facts to do that.
No, it's a fair point.
My suspicion is a lot of that is what's happening. A lot of that is what's happening is that everybody thought we were some point so many years ago, and now we're very different on the market. But I'll dig into that. Allison is extremely smart, so I will read that article in great depth and have more of my opinion tomorrow.
This comment has come in, guess where? On the Real Talk with Keith Smith Facebook page.
Yay!
Not only did we get our first like today,
We got our
first comment.
Oh, wow.
Lynn Boatwright, there's likely a new mobile home community that may move into the northern end of Nelson County, close to 29, I think 50 lots or so.
Yeah, so
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you. I'll have to dig into that a little bit. Actually, I've got to talk to Jesse Rutherford later on today, who's Nelson County Board of Supervisors. If I remember correctly, that this is an affordable housing project that's been going on for quite a while.
I will say
in that
this, and
I don't know if it's fully approved yet and ready to get developed.
some of the leadership
Oh, yeah.
in Southwood, leadership within the Hispanic community
Got
that resides in Southwood,
Got it.
has reached out to us in the talk show about displacement concerns, price points that were relayed to them at the beginning of this process,
Now it's different.
now completely different, and how a good majority of the residents are no longer
Able.
to stay in
Yeah.
the community they've called home.
So
Because the rent and the ownership price points have changed considerably versus what they were told in the beginning of this development.
So that's a prime example of the conversation that I was having, this red tape, green tape. I am sure when numbers were given and development costs were done, they were honestly given.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
Right?
Yeah.
And now things have changed. So what has to happen now is everybody's got to get back at the table and go, okay, and maybe, and I don't know this for hand, so I'm just throwing an idea out that I have no facts to back up, but my hope would be is some of this money that Albemarle County has been given out may help offset those expenses. So the way this is going to have to work is the subsidies that are given. I'll give you a prime example. Not Southwood, Piedmont Community Land Trust. We got $625,000 last week for 12 units. So we are now going to be able to take homes that we are buying from Stanley Martin and reselling that is at the 243 mark, and we're going to be able to reduce that price somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000. The math hasn't quite worked out yet because there's a bunch of other expenses that we need to go to that. But we're going to get that sale price closer to 200 is where we always wanted it to be. I'm not going to throw an exact number out because I'm smarter than that. Mainly because I can't remember it, to be honest with you. But, one of the things you never do in this business, ever do, is throw a number out unless you know exactly what it is. And unfortunately, some of that may have happened and probably shouldn't have happened.
Dan Pettit says the folks at Southwood need to go to the meeting on April 26th at the county office building. Here's another unfortunate aspect that's happening.
You know what I heard about this in this conversation? You know what excited me most about it? Is this community is getting engaged.
Oh,
That is an important thing, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm sorry that they're there, right? But the fact that they're getting engaged is huge.
the residents that live in Southwood, many of them are Spanish
Sure.
speaking predominantly,
Yeah.
where English is not the first language.
Mhm.
So
Neither is mine, but
going to a meeting like a board of supervisors or a planning commission meeting is challenging, for a number of reasons. Also, the ERPs on Today y Mañana and on this show, Real Talk, have identified that often you don't see the participation from the
Because they're working.
Hispanic community
they're working 7 days a week,
during board of supervisor meetings is
12
because they're working, like
12
he
hou-
just said.
12 hours a day, from dusk to dawn. They are working the tuskas off to get the American dream, which I support 110%.
Exactly.
So we'll off air. We'll find out who it is. I'll see if I can try to connect somebody that can help them. I said I don't wait of all this stuff, enough of this that we might be able to connect some folks so we can get some representation out at that meeting. And I think that's what you're telling me, is that their opinion.
And they're reaching out to me to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, I don't have a problem tackling the topic, but I want to make sure I have the facts right.
sure.
And I don't have that at the moment.
I would encourage all the folks to
can-
read Allison's story in the Daily Progress today.
I can tell you, at least based on my limited involvement in that project, which has been zero, to be honest, the intent was much similar to what Friendship Court and PHA is doing, where they're supposed to
Earmark. Yeah.
keep the resident pool, whatever that is, whatever the number is there, they're supposed to be offered equal housing at whatever price it was at that particular time. So what I'm hearing is that apparently isn't happening, or is that I need to know if that's actually not happening, right? Is that factually not happening? And I know the people who make the phone calls to find out, is this, and if it's really happening, if it's really the case, then we need to talk about it.
Yeah,
does that
you
make
hit it.
sense?
Neil
Okay.
says, for what it's worth, Southwood is a resident-driven development and design.
Correct.
Habitat brings an interpreter to the BOS meetings.
Yes. Yeah, so that's the point. Everybody on that side of the house, we just got to make sure that information is correct when we talk about it on that issue, because what we don't want to do is misquote or misprovide inaccurate information.
Yeah.
You've taught me that,
I
because
think,
this conversation as we know now because of the new realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, how do you like that segment?
Oh, very nice.
Is there forever.
Oh, in perpetuity online. So this topic is
Isn't that
gaining
the same?
momentum
Go ahead.
and bubbling.
Yeah.
We will try to highlight it tomorrow.
I need to dig into some information. I'm going to probably reach out to Neil so Neil can educate me a little bit. I need to get a little education. I know some of
Maybe a
these.
little Dan Rosenswag.
I know some of his office is right next to mine.
Yeah.
I know. I work with these people on the nonprofit side of the house enough, and so in fairness to them, I need to make sure I understand what's going on before I open up my big fat mouth.
Absolutely.
Which I tend to do from time to time.
Absolutely.
Can't remember what I said 30 seconds ago, but
Phase 2, to dot the I's and cross the T's, is not denied, but Phase 2 currently.
this is from Neil.
The county, this is from the story.
Got it.
The county and its staff are suggesting not recommending approval for Phase 2, which is different than recommending denial. So it's very much in jurisdictional purgatory right now.
Yeah. Well, you know why.
I think it's a number of reasons.
Do you know the difference between the two?
Explain, please.
So a denial means that they can't bring that same request back for a year. More than likely, my suspicion is it'll get deferred. A flat-out denial is a no, and they cannot bring that same request back for 12 months.
And the unfortunate aspect of lengthening this period is going to make this project more expensive.
So
These costs of goods and labor, they're
Yeah,
not going to go
yeah.
down.
So I need to dig in my heels and get into it. To be perfectly honest with everybody, it took me a year and a half of hard work to get the land trust, the money, and put the units in the ground that we're doing. And that's really been my focus as the chairperson of that. I really have not focused my attention too much on that, but I will do that. I'll do what I can this evening and today and this evening for tomorrow's show.
Fantastic. Today was excellent.
Yeah, we didn't even get to the 2 other seller myths and 1 other buyer myth. We can tackle that tomorrow.
Tomorrow, absolutely. What do you got cooking for the rest of the day?
Apparently, I'm doing research on Southwood. That's what I'm doing. Actually, I've got clients and, real estate, the tempo, at least for my world, has been picking up quite a bit, which is great. Bunch of listings coming on. Thank you, everybody, for that. And a bunch of buyers we're working with. And, the hours it takes to make things happen now, it just takes a little bit longer.
Love it. I love it. Keith Smith, Real Talk with Keith Smith. Find him online, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Like the Facebook page. He's going to be suggesting to his friends today to like that Facebook page.
Yes.
All the content we're going to have
Hold on
on
a
these
second.
social media channels, they look beautiful.
Hearing aids just popped out.
They look beautiful. Judah Wittcar's our
My
director.
hearing aids? Do they look?
I like the shirt you're wearing today.
Yeah, this is Casual Keith Day.
I like it. Judah is our director. I'm Jerry. I Love Seville show is up in 50 minutes.
Yo.
You guys have a good day. Take care. A lot of engagement today.
Yeah. I